There are, my friends, certain key ingredients in the great recipe of life. And one of the most powerful recipes you shall ever encounter is what I call the student mentality. The student mentality is not simply about sitting in a classroom or scribbling notes with weary hands. No, it is far greater than that. It is a way of life, a posture of the soul, a daily reminder that as long as you breathe, you are still a learner. In this recipe, the very first ingredient, without which the rest loses flavor, is discipline. Discipline is the guardian at the gate of your future. The truth is plain, the future is expensive. It does not come cheaply, nor is it inherited like an old piece of furniture passed down from a grandparent's attic. The future belongs to those who pay the price, and the currency, my dear listener, is discipline. Think of discipline as the bridge between desire and achievement. Many people whisper to themselves late at night, I want more. I deserve more. I dream of more. Yet only a disciplined soul will walk the weary miles required to reach it. Discipline cannot appear out of thin air. It requires something to ignite it. That is where motivation steps in. Motivation is like a spark in the fireplace. It warms you for a moment, but if it is left unattended, it dies out. It must mature into discipline, into consistency, into a burning fire that never ceases. A true student is not moved merely by bursts of energy. A true student learns to convert fleeting passion into daily habits. That is the transformation we must seek. And so, the next ingredient is self-awareness. You must remember at all times, you are a learner. Even in moments of success, even when you feel you have arrived, you must whisper to yourself, there is more to learn. Life teaches us through triumph and through failure, through laughter and through tears. The wise man never says, I have arrived. He says, teach me more. Self-awareness is not simply knowing your name or recognizing your reflection in the mirror. It is the quiet ability to watch your own thoughts, examine your own choices, and see yourself not only as you are but as you are becoming. It is the act of taking responsibility. Within that awareness must also come belief. You must believe in yourself. You must see yourself as capable, as lovable, as unconditionally worthy of the future. For the moment you dismiss yourself, the world will follow your example. Here lies another truth. Pain will come. That is not a threat, but a certainty. Yet within pain lies a gift, the potential for progress. Think of the sculptor chipping away at marble. With every strike of his hammer, pain is inflicted upon the stone. But in time, what emerges is not brokenness, but beauty. So too must you see your life. Turn your pain into progress. When tears come, let them water your resilience. When difficulties weigh upon your shoulders, let them shape your strength. You must see yourself not as the victim of life's blows, but as the victor who turns those very blows into stepping stones. One of the gravest lacks among students is not intelligence, nor energy, but vision. To become what you desire, you must first see it. You must see yourself walking the graduation stage before you ever take the exam. You must see yourself delivering the great speech before your lips ever form the first words. Close your eyes and hear your future self whispering, thank you. Thank you for not giving up when you longed to surrender. Thank you for persevering through depression's heavy fog. Thank you for not allowing brokenness to eat away at your progress. Your future self is standing there, perhaps years ahead, applauding the choices you make today. Can you hear the sound? Lean in. Open your ears. The voice is faint, but it is real. Now, let me be clear. This journey shall not be easy. I will not deceive you with soft words. It shall be hard. At times, unbearably hard. But let me assure you, it shall be worth it. Perhaps you are listening with a goal pressing upon your mind. You want to shed weight that has long burdened your body. Or you wish to pass that final exam that seems impossible. Or perhaps there is some unseen giant in your life that appears immovable. Hear me, turn your pain into progress. I need you to be uncomfortable with average. Yes, allergic to it. For average is the silent thief of greatness. It whispers, stay where you are. Do not stretch too far. Do not try too hard. And those who listen remain stagnant, trapped in mediocrity. A true student learns to embrace discomfort. Growth always lives just beyond the line of comfort. A student, then, is more than one who sits in lectures or reads books. A student adapts. A student shows courage each day. A student is consistent even when motivation fades. A student learns to breathe in the midst of competition, to practice great habits, to remain focused. And most of all, a student is resilient. There will be moments where you study for hours upon hours, only to sit in the exam hall and find failure staring at you in black ink upon the page. Your heart will sink. You will feel as though your efforts were in vain. But hear me, that is not the end. That is the mark of resilience. For a student is one who rises again, who returns to the desk, who refuses to surrender to despair. Cycles exist, in families, in histories, in nations. Cycles of poverty. Cycles of depression. Cycles of dysfunction passed quietly down like unwanted heirlooms. But the cycle can end with you. The anxiety your mother carried does not have to rest upon your shoulders. The brokenness of your father does not need to enter your bloodline. You can say, it stops here. And the weapon you shall wield to break the cycle is the student mentality. Now let us speak of hunger. Not simply the rumbling in your stomach when you have missed a meal, but that deep, aching hunger of the soul. Why did you begin this journey in the first place? Was it not hunger? Hunger to rise above poverty. Hunger to silence the mocking voices that said you could not. Hunger to build a life for your children that your parents never had. When you feel like giving up, when you are tempted to throw in the towel, return to the hunger. Remember it. Let it stir within you once more. Every dream requires discipline. There is a science behind achievement. Study the most successful students in the world and you will find common traits: responsibility, motivation, self-management, long-lasting commitment to learning. Even when they pass the test, they remain students, because they know life itself is one long examination. The truly great see themselves as responsible not merely for outcomes, but for the choices that shaped them. They understand that motivation gets you started, but discipline keeps you walking the road. And so, you must be self-motivated. Find purpose. Attach meaning to your goals. Discover dreams that stir your soul. Finally, remember this truth: behavior follows belief. If you have not been able to alter your actions to match your dream, it is not your discipline that is lacking, it is your belief. For the moment one truly believes, everything changes. So I ask you now, do you believe? Do you believe in yourself, in your calling, in the worthiness of your dream? If you do, then let your behavior testify. And if ever the urge to give up grows strong, recall why you started. Recall the hunger. Recall the vision. Recall the voice of your future self, whispering, "Thank you." Turn your mess into your message. Belief is not a soft sentiment. It is not merely a thought that floats lazily about the mind. No, belief is a decision. It is a covenant you make with your future self. When you believe, you begin to walk differently. Your back straightens. Your eyes lift. Your steps carry weight. Because you are no longer moving from wishful thinking, you are moving from conviction. And now, my friends, let us speak of patience, the quiet, almost invisible power that distinguishes the great from the good. In a world of instant gratification, patience has become a lost art. Yet it is patience that allows a student of life to grow roots deep into the soil of knowledge and character. Think of the tree. It does not demand sunlight instantly. It does not demand rain on its terms. It simply endures. It bends, it stretches, it sways with the winds of life. And in time, it bears fruit. So must you. Endure. Stretch. Bend when necessary. But above all, remain rooted in purpose. Too many give up when the first obstacle rises. Too many stumble and declare defeat. But the student of life understands that every obstacle is a lesson in disguise. Pain is not punishment, it is tuition. Failure is not rejection, it is a guide pointing you toward refinement. I need you to embrace repetition. Yes, repetition. The greatest achievers are not those who stumbled into genius by chance. No, they are the ones who return, day after day, to the work others have abandoned. Repetition turns weakness into strength. It turns ignorance into wisdom. It turns dreams into reality. Consider the artist, the musician, the writer. They do not produce a masterpiece the first time they touch their instrument, their pen, or their brush. They practice relentlessly. They revise. They rewrite. And in their daily, almost sacred repetitions, they inch closer and closer to brilliance. And so, I say to you, Never despise small beginnings. Never mock the first faltering steps. Every step is progress. Every effort is a building block. The mountain is climbed not in one leap but one steady step after another. Now, let us speak of curiosity. Never allow your mind to grow stale. Never believe you have learned all there is to know. The world is vast, mysterious, and endlessly fascinating. The moment you think you know it all is the moment you cease to grow. Ask questions. Seek answers. Probe deeper than anyone else dares. Read books not because you must, but because they ignite your imagination. Listen to people not because you should, but because they hold perspectives you do not yet possess. The student mindset is never satisfied with surface-level knowledge. It seeks depth, richness, and understanding. And in your pursuit of knowledge, remember the power of reflection. Take moments of quiet. Look back on your day. Examine your actions. Ask yourself, did I honor my potential today? Did I act in alignment with my dreams? What did I learn from my failures, and what did I celebrate in my victories? Reflection is the lens through which growth becomes visible. Without it, life is lived blindly, and lessons are lost. Equally important is gratitude. It may seem simple, even trivial in the grand theater of ambition. But gratitude is transformative. It anchors the soul, it reminds the heart of blessings, and it fuels resilience. Begin each day with thanks. Thank the sunrise. Thank the people who push you, the challenges that shape you, the failures that teach you. A grateful heart is fertile soil for success. Now, let us not forget action. Knowledge without action is vanity. Dreams without execution are illusions. Ideas without implementation are whispers lost to the wind. A student of life knows this. To dream is vital, to plan is essential, but to act is everything. Do not wait for conditions to be perfect. There will never be a perfect moment. The perfect moment is now, and the imperfect now is still enough if you take action. Begin. Even small steps, taken consistently, accumulate into monumental achievements. You must also cultivate courage. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the mastery of it. Fear will always knock at your door. Doubt will always whisper in your ear. But a courageous student listens, acknowledges, and then moves forward anyway. Courage transforms hesitation into momentum. Courage transforms despair into hope. Courage transforms ordinary days into extraordinary chapters. And as you walk this path, remember the value of mentorship. Seek those who have walked before you. Learn from their triumphs and their mistakes. Let their experience illuminate your path. But do not stop there, also become a mentor. Teach those who are behind you. Share your knowledge, your mistakes, and your victories. A true student is also a teacher, for knowledge multiplies when shared. Another crucial ingredient is adaptability. The world is in constant flux. What worked yesterday may not work tomorrow. Opportunities arise and vanish. Challenges evolve. To survive, you must bend without breaking. You must learn to pivot. You must embrace change, not resist it. Adaptability is not weakness, it is strength disguised as flexibility. And let us not overlook integrity. Success without character is a hollow victory. Let your actions align with your values. Let honesty, kindness, and fairness guide your decisions. The world may reward deceit for a moment, but in the end, integrity is the currency that never devalues. A student of life treasures truth above convenience, honesty above comfort, and character above acclaim. As we continue, consider the power of consistency. Greatness is rarely sudden. It is often the product of repeated, deliberate effort over time. Consistency is what separates the fleeting from the lasting. A student knows that showing up day after day, even when enthusiasm wanes, is what transforms potential into mastery. In addition, cultivate emotional resilience. Life will test you. It will challenge you in ways you cannot predict. You will encounter heartbreak, betrayal, disappointment, and loss. But do not allow these storms to define you. Learn to bend without breaking, to absorb pain without being consumed, and to rise with renewed strength. Emotional resilience is the backbone of enduring success. And, my friends, do not underestimate imagination. The mind that dreams is a mind that creates. Let your imagination soar. Visualize solutions, envision possibilities, and allow creativity to guide your actions. Even the most practical achievements begin in the mind. Finally, let us speak of legacy. A student of life does not simply pursue personal gain. They consider the mark they will leave behind. They ask, how will my life serve others? What impact will my choices have on the world? The measure of success is not wealth or fame, but the positive influence you impart. A life lived for others is a life that echoes through time. Remember, greatness is a marathon, not a sprint. It requires discipline, patience, courage, adaptability, and consistency. It requires the wisdom to learn from failures, the humility to seek guidance, and the generosity to uplift others. It requires a student mentality, a mindset that never ceases to learn, grow, and aspire. And so, dear listener, I leave you with this: embrace the student mentality. Walk with discipline, act with courage, reflect with wisdom, and dream with imagination. Let each day be a classroom, each challenge a lesson, and each success a stepping stone toward even greater heights. Your journey is yours alone, but it is also part of something larger. It is a testament to resilience, to perseverance, and to the indomitable human spirit. And as you continue, remember, the student mentality is not a phase. It is a lifelong companion. It will walk with you through moments of doubt. It will guide you through storms of despair. It will celebrate with you in seasons of triumph. It will remind you, always, that learning never ends, that growth never ceases, and that your potential is boundless. There are, my friends, chapters in life where the world seems both impossibly large and unnervingly quiet. In these chapters, the mind is tested more than the body, and the soul is challenged more than the intellect. This is the realm of the true student, one who has embraced not merely the act of learning, but the philosophy of growth. It is here that we must delve deeper into the heart of the student mentality, for understanding it is to understand the blueprint of success, resilience, and purpose. At the center of this mentality lies discipline, that quiet but unyielding force. Discipline is not a tyrant standing over your shoulder with a ruler. No, it is far subtler, far more powerful. Discipline is the gentle whisper in the cold of the morning, urging you to rise when your bed feels most inviting. It is the quiet nudge to open a textbook when every muscle in your body begs for rest. It is the hand that steadies you when procrastination threatens to sway your course. Consider this: a student rises at 5 a.m., not because the world demands it, but because the future she desires demands it. The streets outside are silent, dew clings to the grass, a thin mist wraps the town like a blanket. While others still slumber, she reviews her notes, writes an essay, and revises the chapters that confound her most. Her fingers ache. Her eyes burn. And yet, she persists. This is not heroism, it is habit. It is the quiet, steadfast insistence that one's dreams are worth the labor. Yet discipline alone is insufficient. Discipline without hunger is like a lantern without oil, bright for a moment, but quickly extinguished. Hunger, my friends, is the fire that feeds discipline. It is the restless yearning that drives a student to remain seated when every instinct says leave. It is the gnawing voice that whispers, you cannot stop. You must rise. You must become. Hunger comes in many forms. There is the hunger to escape mediocrity, the hunger to prove the doubters wrong, the hunger to forge a life richer than the one inherited. Hunger is the quiet, insistent drumbeat behind every step, every decision, every sleepless night. Without it, even the most disciplined mind may wander, even the brightest student may falter. Hunger turns effort into ritual, challenges into milestones, and setbacks into lessons. And what of resilience? Resilience is the bridge between hunger and success. It is the art of standing tall when the storm batters your window. Imagine a student who has spent months preparing for a pivotal examination. The night before, a torrent of anxiety sweeps over him, leaving him restless, his thoughts chaotic, doubt gnawing at the edges of confidence. The exam arrives, merciless and exacting. He fails, perhaps not catastrophically, but enough to sting, enough to make him question his worth. Now, a student without resilience might fold, might retreat, might allow one failure to define an entire journey. A student with resilience, however, rises. He dusts off the disappointment, studies the misstep, and returns with renewed focus. Like the bamboo that bends in the wind but refuses to break, Resilience is flexibility anchored in determination. It is the knowledge that every setback is not a tombstone, but a stepping stone. Let us reflect on history. During the Blitz in London, when bombs fell with relentless fury, and the nights were filled with smoke, ash, and fear, ordinary citizens displayed extraordinary resilience. They queued patiently for rations, studied by candlelight in bombed-out classrooms, and sang in the underground to maintain hope. Why? Because they believed in a future brighter than the chaos surrounding them. The student mentality mirrors this same belief, the capacity to endure hardship for a dream yet unseen, yet imagined with precision and hope. It is here that vision intertwines with discipline, hunger, and resilience. Vision is the mental photograph of the life you wish to lead, the clarity of your desired horizon. A student without vision is a ship adrift, subject to every whim of the waves and wind. But a student with vision navigates with certainty, plotting courses that might seem invisible to others, guided by an inner compass calibrated with hope and strategy. Vision fuels courage. It convinces the student to ask questions in class, to speak even when fear gnaws at the tongue, to attempt what others might dismiss as impossible. It is the internal image of walking across a stage to collect a diploma, or the mental rehearsal of presenting a project that transforms not only grades, but lives. Vision is both anchor and sail. It keeps one grounded, yet propels one forward. But let us not romanticize struggle. The path of the student is riddled with discomfort. There will be early mornings, missed social gatherings, the ache of exhaustion. There will be moments when motivation falters, when the bed feels warmer than the library chair, when friends' laughter seems louder than your own whisper of purpose. And yet, it is precisely in these moments that the student mentality asserts itself. A true student learns the secret of small, relentless actions. One page read. One problem solved. One paragraph written. Each small act compounds, each seemingly minor effort accumulating until a mountain is scaled, a goal reached, a dream realized. The ordinary is transformed into the extraordinary, not through sudden brilliance, but through unyielding consistency. Now, consider the lessons of hunger and patience. Hunger is immediate, urgent. Patience, however, is enduring. A student hungry for success must also cultivate patience, for knowledge, skill, and opportunity grow not overnight, but across seasons. The oak tree does not emerge full-grown in a day. The river does not carve the canyon in a single summer. Similarly, mastery and success demand the patient accumulation of effort, the slow and deliberate cultivation of habits. Resilience, vision, discipline, hunger, and patience. These are the pillars of the student mentality. Yet, there is one more element, perhaps the most subtle of all, self-belief. A student must see, in the mirror of their mind, the person they are becoming. They must whisper to themselves amidst doubt, I am capable. I am worthy. I am persistent. I am deserving of the fruits of my labor. Without belief, effort may falter, hunger may wane, and resilience may crumble. But with belief, the ordinary is rendered extraordinary. The impossible begins to tremble before determination. Let us take a moment to consider two students. One is gifted, intelligent, naturally quick. The other is less so, slower, easily overlooked. The gifted student may start ahead, but without discipline, hunger, and resilience, complacency will settle, effort will waver, and advantage will slip like sand through fingers. Meanwhile, the ordinary student, armed with purpose, relentless effort, and a refusal to yield, overtakes the gifted one. This is no miracle. This is the student mentality in action. Discipline outlasts talent. One must see clearly what went wrong without deflecting blame or succumbing to self-recrimination. This requires courage, for it demands honesty in the face of discomfort. The second step is analysis, examining the failure to identify the root cause, to separate temporary circumstance from systemic weakness. The third step is adaptation, adjusting strategy, refining methods, and preparing for the next attempt. The final step is action, applying the insights gained, taking the next step, and repeating the cycle with greater wisdom. The British author J.K. Rowling offers a compelling illustration of this principle. Before achieving literary fame, she faced rejection after rejection from publishers. Each rejection letter might have signaled defeat to many, yet Rowling treated each as an opportunity to improve her manuscript, to sharpen her storytelling, and to persevere. Her eventual success was not an accident but the culmination of persistent, reflective action in the face of repeated failure. Failure also teaches creativity. When one path is blocked, another must be found. Obstacles force the mind to innovate, to experiment, to approach challenges from unexpected angles. The student who fails a mathematics problem may discover a novel method or perspective, one that deepens understanding beyond the initial attempt. The artist who faces repeated criticism may refine their technique in ways that lead to a distinctive, authentic style. The entrepreneur who experiences setbacks learns to pivot, innovate, and seize opportunities hidden within challenges. There is, moreover, a quiet dignity in embracing failure. It cultivates courage, the kind that is not flamboyant but steadfast. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to act despite it. The student who submits a flawed essay, speaks before a skeptical audience, or attempts a daunting experiment demonstrates courage by facing potential failure head-on. Each act of bravery strengthens the spirit, builds confidence, and reinforces the capacity for future achievement. Failure also fosters empathy. One who has stumbled understands the fears, struggles, and vulnerabilities of others. The consistent student who has faced repeated setbacks becomes not only resilient but compassionate, able to guide, support, and inspire others who encounter similar challenges. In this way, failure shapes character not only in the pursuit of personal mastery but in the cultivation of meaningful relationships and leadership. Yet, to fully embrace failure, one must confront a pervasive societal illusion, the expectation of instant success. Modern culture often glorifies rapid achievement, viral recognition, and overnight triumphs. It obscures the reality that mastery, excellence, and accomplishment are the products of long, iterative processes filled with errors, revisions, and setbacks. By embracing failure, the student aligns with reality, recognizing that true success is seldom instantaneous, and that the path to mastery is paved with missteps, corrections, and relentless effort. An essential aspect of learning from failure is developing emotional resilience. The student must manage frustration, disappointment, and self-doubt without allowing them to derail progress. This requires mindfulness, reflection, and the cultivation of perspective. One failure does not define a person, it is but a single moment in a larger journey. By maintaining composure, analyzing objectively, and responding thoughtfully, the student transforms emotional discomfort into fuel for improvement. Failure also sharpens judgment. Each unsuccessful attempt provides data, valuable information that refines decision-making and strategy. The student who repeatedly experiments, adjusts, and evaluates develops discernment, intuition, and critical thinking. Over time, mistakes become stepping stones, each one building a more sophisticated, informed, and capable mind. Consider, too, the narrative of Thomas Edison, whose experiments with the light bulb are legendary. When asked about the thousands of failed attempts, he famously remarked, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." His mindset captures the essence of this chapter. Failure is not defeat, but discovery, not an end, but a necessary stage in the process of achievement. The power of embracing failure extends beyond the individual. It creates a culture of learning, curiosity, and innovation. A student who approaches mistakes with curiosity rather than fear encourages peers to do the same. In classrooms, workplaces, and communities, the acceptance of failure as part of growth cultivates collaboration, experimentation, and progress. It transforms fear into opportunity and hesitation into action. Ultimately, embracing failure is an act of courage, intelligence, and wisdom. It is the recognition that life is neither linear nor flawless, that each setback carries a lesson, and that mastery is the product of iterative effort over time. The consistent student understands that errors are not signs of inadequacy but invitations to learn, adapt, and excel. By confronting failure directly, reflecting upon it, and applying the lessons learned, the student transforms obstacles into opportunities, weaknesses into strengths, and missteps into milestones. And so, let us conclude this chapter with a truth both simple and profound. The student who fears failure never truly learns. The student who embraces it never truly fails. Each mistake, each setback, each challenge encountered with courage and reflection is a step toward mastery. Each act of persistence in the face of difficulty reinforces resilience, sharpens skill, and fortifies character. The path to success, then, is not devoid of failure but paved with it. To stumble is human, to rise, reflective and determined, is heroic. By embracing failure as a guide rather than a foe, the student cultivates wisdom, confidence, and perseverance. And in doing so, they illuminate a universal truth: life's greatest achievements are born not from perfection, but from the courage to continue, the patience to learn, and the resilience to grow from every fall. In the quiet chambers of the mind, there exists a treasure more valuable than gold, more precious than fleeting fame or fortune. This treasure is focus, the undivided attention, the deliberate concentration, the unwavering commitment to a task or purpose. In an age of ceaseless distraction, where notifications ping incessantly, where the mind flits from one thought to another like a butterfly over flowers, focus has become both rare and indispensable. Focus is the lens through which effort becomes effective. A student may study for hours, yet without focus, the hours dissolve into a blur of incomplete comprehension. The painter may labor over a canvas, yet without focus, the strokes remain erratic and uninspired. Focus transforms action into mastery, repetition into skill, and intention into achievement. Consider the analogy of a magnifying glass under the midday sun. Alone, a beam of sunlight warms the earth gently, often unnoticed. Yet, when concentrated through the lens, that same sunlight can ignite paper, harnessing energy to achieve a tangible, powerful effect. Similarly, focused attention channels mental energy, amplifies effort, and produces results far greater than scattered attempts. Focus is cultivated through habit and discipline. It begins with a conscious decision to eliminate distractions. Yet, focus extends beyond environmental control. It is a mental muscle, strengthened through repeated exercise, meditation, and deliberate engagement. The mind, like the body, becomes stronger with consistent practice. The British philosopher John Locke once reflected on the power of attention. Reading furnishes the mind only with materials of knowledge. It is thinking that makes what we read ours. Attention, in essence, is the process of making knowledge ours. To focus is to engage actively, to question, to analyze, to synthesize. Without focus, reading is merely scanning, listening merely hearing, and effort merely motion. With focus, the mind absorbs, transforms, and creates. Yet, focus is challenged by modern life. Social media, instant messaging, and the constant hum of digital interaction fragment attention, leaving the mind restless and scattered. The student who succumbs to these distractions experiences shallow learning, superficial skill acquisition, and fragmented understanding. In contrast, the student who guards attention, who dedicates specific periods to deep work, cultivates depth, insight, and competence. There exists a subtle rhythm to focus, an ebb and flow that mirrors the body's natural cycles. Periods of intense concentration must be balanced with rest, reflection, and rejuvenation. The student who studies for 12 consecutive hours without pause risks mental fatigue and diminishing returns. By recognizing personal rhythms, taking short breaks, and returning refreshed, focus becomes sustainable and potent. Discipline, once again, plays a central role. To focus consistently, the student must train the mind to resist temptation, to return repeatedly to the task, and to maintain engagement even when boredom or difficulty arises. This training is neither immediate nor easy. It is a lifelong practice, a commitment to cultivating mental clarity, and a willingness to prioritize long-term gain over short-term distraction. Focus also demands clarity of purpose. The student who understands why they study, why they write, or why they practice a skill can channel attention more effectively. Purpose acts as a compass, guiding the mind through the maze of potential distractions. Without purpose, effort may be applied, but it risks misdirection, inefficiency, and frustration. With purpose, attention aligns with intention, creating a powerful synergy between desire and action. Let us examine the stories of extraordinary achievers, whose accomplishments were born not only from talent but from extraordinary focus. Consider Sir Isaac Newton, who, upon observing the fall of an apple, devoted years to understanding the principles of gravity. His discoveries were not the result of fleeting inspiration, but of sustained, concentrated attention. Or consider Jane Austen, who, in quiet domestic spaces, focused intently on the nuances of human character, producing novels of enduring insight and artistry. Focus is the common thread that weaves through the tapestry of achievement. Focus is also an antidote to overwhelm. In a world saturated with information, choices, and demands, the mind can easily become scattered, anxious, or paralyzed. By intentionally directing attention to one task at a time, the student cultivates clarity, reduces stress, and enhances productivity. Multitasking, often glorified in modern culture, is a thief of focus, reducing efficiency and comprehension. Deep, singular attention, in contrast, magnifies output and enriches understanding. The cultivation of focus requires deliberate strategies. One such strategy is time blocking, allocating specific periods for specific tasks, free from interruption. Another is the Pomodoro technique, which alternates focused work with brief rest intervals, harnessing attention without fatigue. Mindfulness practices, including meditation and reflection, strengthen the mind's ability to return to the present moment, to resist distraction, and to maintain engagement with intention. Yet, focus is not merely a technical skill, it is a reflection of inner discipline, character, and purpose. A student who focuses diligently develops patience, resilience, and a profound respect for the process of learning. The mind, when trained to concentrate, becomes a formidable instrument, capable of absorbing complexity, solving problems, and creating insights. Focus is not only the pathway to achievement but also the foundation of wisdom. Consider the interplay of focus and creativity. Contrary to popular belief, creativity does not flourish in chaos. It thrives in concentrated thought, in sustained engagement with ideas, and in the disciplined exploration of possibilities. The artist who dedicates hours to perfecting a single stroke, the writer who revises a paragraph repeatedly, and the scientist who investigates a problem methodically exemplify the synergy between focus and innovation. Attention transforms potential into realized brilliance. Focus, however, is fragile. It must be protected vigilantly. The student who succumbs to distraction or procrastination erodes their most valuable resource. External temptations, digital noise, social obligations, environmental disturbances, must be managed. Internal distractions, wandering thoughts, self-doubt, and impatience, must be recognized and redirected. Mastery of focus is mastery over both the external and internal realms, a deliberate cultivation of mental sovereignty. In practicing focus, the student also cultivates self-trust. Each instance of directed attention reinforces the belief in one's ability to engage, learn, and achieve. Confidence grows, not from occasional successes, but from the repeated demonstration of self-control and dedication. Focus becomes a habit, resilience becomes embedded, and the student learns that the mind, once disciplined, is a reliable ally in pursuit of any goal. Finally, focus is deeply intertwined with the concept of presence. To focus is to inhabit fully the current task, to immerse the mind in the moment, and to engage with depth and intention. The student who reads attentively, writes thoughtfully, or solves problems deliberately experiences not only mastery but also the profound satisfaction of meaningful engagement. Presence transforms effort from mechanical repetition into a rich, fulfilling process. And so, as this chapter concludes, remember, in a world awash with distraction, the ability to focus is both rare and invaluable. Cultivate it through discipline, habit, and clarity of purpose. Protect it against interruption, train it with deliberate practice, and apply it with intention. Focus magnifies effort, deepens understanding, and transforms potential into achievement. The student who masters focus gains not only skill but also serenity, insight, and power. They learn that attention is the gateway through which effort becomes effective, that depth of engagement produces excellence, and that mastery is born not of fleeting inspiration but of sustained, deliberate concentration. In the quiet, focused hours of study, practice, and reflection, the student discovers the transformative force of undivided attention. They learn that distractions are temporary, that patience is essential, and that achievement flows from the disciplined cultivation of focus. In harnessing this power, they step closer to mastery, clarity, and success. For in the end, it is not merely action that shapes destiny, but focused action. It is not merely effort that defines achievement, but attention directed with purpose. And it is in the art of focus that the student, having embraced consistency, endured failure, and nurtured resilience, realizes the profound truth. Mastery is possible, dreams are attainable, and life, when approached with deliberate attention, becomes extraordinary. In summary, my friends, what you have just journeyed through is far more than a story. It is a mirror, a gentle reminder of the power that lies within each of us. These chapters have been an invitation to pause, to reflect, and to rediscover the strength that has always been yours. We began by exploring the battles of the mind, those moments of doubt and fear that so often hold us back. Yet, we uncovered the truth, that within every struggle lies the seed of resilience, a spark that refuses to be extinguished. From there, we learned to embrace failure not as an enemy, but as a teacher, guiding us with lessons that no triumph alone could ever provide. Together, we walked through the discipline of focus, the art of quieting distractions and choosing the path that aligns with our purpose. We spoke of courage, authenticity, and the quiet power of perseverance. And through it all, one message has remained clear. Your story is not defined by setbacks or the opinions of others, but by the strength of your spirit and the choices you make each day. So, I ask you, as you step forward from here, what will you do with this truth? Will you continue to let doubt dictate your steps, or will you rise, fully aware that you hold the pen to your own story? Remember this, my friends, life will test you, it will bend you, but it will also shape you into something extraordinary, if only you allow it. Trust yourself. Honor your journey. And walk boldly, for you are capable of far more than you have ever imagined. This, then, is not the end, but the beginning of a new chapter. The chapter where you take ownership, embrace the lessons of the past, and step into the life you were always meant to live.